Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes. We watched episodes 10, 11, and 12.
So the first episode we watched was Magma Diver. This like 3-episode arc was like really good in terms of like, you know, deepening like character development. The kind of book ended by like some more action heavy episodes, and then the middle episode is much more kind of contemplative, I suppose is the word.
Yeah. Magma Diver, the cousin of Ronnie James Dio's Holy Diver.
Magma Diver! There's an angel inside a fire mount. I lost the melody. It's okay. I can't really sing.
Yeah, it's the angel sleepy inside of a volcano.
Yeah, Sandalphon.
Yep. We do get like the show opens, episode 10 opens with more weirdness between Asuka and Kaji. Mm-hmm. And I remember in our last episode, you said it was like more Asuka having a crush. Kaji is not being weird. You know, he's staying arm's length, whatever. He's doing, you know, he is Asuka's Masato.
Yeah.
Is like how I came to understand it last episode. Mm-hmm. And I was still on the fence about that until this scene. Because like Asuka is 100% flirting with him, which again is weird, but she's a teen girl. Teens do this kind of shit to older people in their lives, especially ones that have so much traumatic baggage, like every fucking character in the show does. And he just like blows it off.
Yep.
He is the most normal man in anime.
Yep.
In any anime, any of them ever made that I've ever seen.
Yeah. So essentially, Kaji and Asuka are going on a shopping trip. Asuka wants to buy bathing suits for an upcoming school trip to Okinawa, and he's just like, oh, is that what kids wear swimming these days? Okay, whatever. He's just like completely nonplussed with the whole situation. He's just like, yeah, sure. And then we find out that they're actually not going on the school trip because they have to stay on call.
Yeah, I did like this scene because one of the through lines that I'm kind of putting together through Asuka so far is she wants desperately to be seen as an adult, namely to Kaji, but also everyone else. And she's also so excited about going on a school trip, which is something that only kids would be interested in. Mm-hmm. So it's like nice little hints like that
she's still a kid.
Yeah. Like, again, I keep comparing this to Fooly Cooly because that's one of my favorite series. And the themes of children and adults are very, very similar. Mm-hmm. And it's also there's multiple things in this 3-episode arc that remind me of Fooly Cooly, and this is definitely one of them. Asuka reminds me a lot of Naota, the main character in Fooly Cooly. In that I do find them both incredibly insufferable, but you can understand why they're insufferable. It's like Asuka and Naota to me as an adult. Watching this is a lot like if you go back and read Catcher in the Rye, where like this little fucking shit, I hate you so much. Like, this is why everybody hates you.
All my homies hate Holden Caulfield.
Yeah, like when you're a kid and you read that stuff, just like if you're a kid and you watch this, you probably empathize with them a lot more. Whereas as an adult, you see it from the opposite angle, like, wow, you're an insufferable little fucker, aren't you?
But also, like, this scene is like, I think I like it because it, like, the thing with Kaji is like early on in the show, you kind of have to you're trying to figure out like, okay, like what is his angle? What's going on with him? And like the thing that becomes like kind of apparent in like this episode is like similar in the way that like Masato is like tasked with looking after Shinji and Asuka as well. And like she is in a way like manipulating like Shinji's like a sense of empathy and need for connection. It's like Kaji's doing the exact same thing, but to everyone. It's like in like he is, you know, emotionally manipulating Masato by, you know, withholding kind of affection from Asuka. He's manipulating her, and it's like
and Ritsuko,
and it's like that becomes like more and more apparent as the show goes on, and like we start to see more of the cracks in people. And it's I
do think it's because he's a spy still.
Okay.
Because it's the only thing in his character arc that would make sense. I don't think he's like a spy for like the Angels or anything. Like that'd be ridiculous. But if he is, fine. What the show is pretty ridiculous. But like some other government agency, all generally working towards the same ultimate, you know, quote unquote goal. But it's the only reason that I can plot so far of why every interaction he has with any character, whether it be Masato, Asuka, Ritsuko, he's constantly fucking with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody is just naturally that slimy without a purpose, you know?
And then we cut to them like, them finding out that no, you're not going on the trip. You have to stay on standby. Asuka's like really like frustrated with it, and Shinji doesn't back her up, and she gets like really frustrated with him, between like essentially like be a man and like stand up for me, which is like something that will, you know, come up more and more. And then it cuts to them like at the pool where they also find out that they also have to stay because they have to study because they're failing their classes.
Yeah, like Asuka's the only one that really gets a pass on that one because she admittedly in the show says she can't read kanji.
Yeah,
but like the other two are in school all the time. Like what the fuck?
It also they can read kanji. So it cuts to the pool, and Shinji is working on his laptop beside the pool. He's studying,
and everybody else is swimming. And like Asuka always turns everything into a competition, specifically between like her and Rei. Like almost like she's trying to impress Shinji, but like their dynamic doesn't really read that way to me, as it just she needs to be better at everything than everyone, regardless. And she also has like a very specific bone to pick with Rei because she can't get under Rei's skin as a thing. Like she gets rises out of Shinji constantly, but Rei just doesn't give a fuck.
So both of those things are true. In the Asuka calls like Rei like, you know, the perfect girl, all the sort of thing, and it's not. I think both things are true in that like she is like kind of competing for Shinji's attention with Rei, but also is like, oh, Rei is just kind of, for reasons that we will eventually get into, is like the kind of preferred one of like Gendo and like other people, because, you know, she just kind of goes by the book. And there's a kind of an exchange beside the pool with Asuka in the bathing suit and Shinji, and it's like once again that kind of like expression of that theme of like they're uncomfortable teenagers that are developing and don't really know what to do. But there's a really good line that Asuka asks Misato, is like, why don't we attack the angels where they live? And Misato just says, we would do that if we knew where they were.
Yeah. And we get another line later that says, well, we haven't done that in 15 years. And that was when the second impact was. So people are a little bit more worried, which, you know, makes sense. You don't want to accidentally trigger the living nuclear weapons to delete the planet again.
Yep.
But then they do it anyway. Like we get that whole scene where like, if we knew where they were, we would attack them. So then of course they find the fetus angel, which turns out to be more of like an egg than a fetus. But they're like, oh, you know, since the last time we attacked them 15 years ago, this could happen. So like, it's best not to risk it. And then like suddenly like, fuck it, we're risking it.
But also like, it's like the pool scene is great because like, you know, she asked Shinji, is like, oh, what's this question you're working on? And he's like, oh, like thermal expansion. She's like, oh, you know, when things get hotter, they get bigger. And then she says like, if my breasts got hotter, would they get bigger? And like Shinji's like, oh, how would I know? Because he's embarrassed. And then like Asuka's like, well, okay, whatever, you're boring, and like walks off. And then Shinji turns and looks at Rei, which then frustrates Asuka because she's like, oh, you know, look at me before she dives in the pool. So yeah, it's really that theme of like attention and stuff, you know.
And she doesn't really seem to like Shinji at all. Like every scene they're in, it's like she's like bullying him, and that could be multiple different reasons, of course. Like it could be seeing him as something of like a younger sibling because they live together, or because she likes him and she's bullying him that way. It's hard to fucking tell, because again, everybody in the show is a walking baggage train.
Once again, we'll I'm bringing up Carl Jung. Maybe read some Carl Jung. So we find out that they have found essentially the embryo of an angel inside of a volcano as Sandalphon, and they have to attempt to capture it before it hatches. So they're trying to figure out who will go. Asuka eventually volunteers, but tries to like back out when the D-type suit, which goes over the Ava to protect it, looks like a fat suit.
Yeah, it gets like inflated. Oh, we got an inflated Asuka.
Yeah, and
don't Google those words.
And she gets frustrated when she can see that Kaji can see her in the like big expanded plug suit and like the D-type suit. So Rei volunteers, but Asuka's like, no, I'll do it. So
And there's also because the prototypes, which are Rei's and Shinji's Eva, can't put the suit on.
Yep.
Which ends up not being that important, actually, there at the end. But that was the one thing that really bothered me in this episode is the ending, because it's not explained.
Yeah, well, it is, but we'll get there.